Morning, I'm here to tell you I found two new things in the waterfall video that I have never seen before. You may have seen them. Maybe I was just looking in a different direction. But I think that's the whole purpose of the waterfall video, is that we were looking at John, we were looking at Karen, we were looking at Higgins, we were looking everywhere else. And there's two other people acting strange that I'd never noticed before. I'm about to show you is from Microdots. They put up a new video on YouTube. I think it was late last week, maybe Friday. And it's brilliant, and it focuses in on certain parts of the video, and they're really honing in on Higgins, right? So they're talking about this is the case against Brian Higgins, basically. And so as they're focusing in on certain things, I happened to catch something else that I thought was pretty intriguing. Now you'll notice in the beginning here, here's the Alberts leaving the waterfall. This is Caitlin, this is Nicole in the plaid. And they're zooming in on Higgins, but this is how I noticed these two women. Caitlin is first in the white jacket, then Nicole. By the way, Nicole's carrying a drink. I don't know if anybody ever noticed that Nicole walked out of the waterfall with a drink. I'm going to talk about that in a second. You see, Brian Higgins is just about to leave when the kerfuffle happens between, Higgins and Chris. Chris is trying to hold him back. He doesn't appreciate how Higgins is acting, all of this. This is where our attention has been paid the entire time. Now, when they zoom back out, you see all of the Alberts are almost out the door. Caitlin first, Nicole in the plaid, here's Brian. This is just some random dude who got caught in the middle. But you see them, they're nearly out the door, and Higgins is still working John. Now they do a split screen, and just as it's going, I want you to see something. So they split the screen to see how Higgins is acting and what John's reaction is, because they want to be able to put those two things together. This is a brilliant video by Microdots, by the way. So they're going to get ready to start it here in a minute, and you're going to see something that's really interesting, because remember, the Alberts are out the door. Now you see both Brian and Nicole kind of signaling, right? You see Brian and Nicole kind of signaling, and then look, here comes Caitlin. She comes back in, and she goes over to the table right where Jen McCabe is sitting and says something to Jen and then walks back out. Now, I have questioned what feels like a dozen times as to why Jen McCabe felt so compelled to get John to 34 Fairview, right? I thought, is she in on it? Does she know something? Why did she try so hard? Remember, first she tries to get Karen alone. She's like, Karen, you're coming with me. You're coming with me. Maybe the intention is if she and Karen go to 34 Fairview, John will follow with Matt, right? He'll go because he knows Karen's there. Or is the trick to separate them, get Karen in the car and then go, oh, you seem tired, let's take you home. So Karen never makes it to 34 Fairview. But underlying all of that, I could never figure out what Jen's motivation was to get John there. Unless it's a direct order from Brian Albert. Unless Brian Albert sends his daughter, who's, by the way, 1 foot out the door, sends her back into the waterfall to go talk to Jen McCabe and say, and it's only seconds. So it's long enough to say, Dad wants you to come by the house and bring John O'Keefe with you. And she walks away. Brian Albert telling Jen, come to the house and bring John O'Keefe with you is an order. I'm wondering if that's the reason why Jen worked so hard to get him there. But let's also talk about Nicole Albert walking out of the waterfall with a drink in her hand. I've got a still shot of that. Conveniently, right out of the Microdots video, they closed in on Higgins, and look, here's Nicole with a drink in her hand. By the way, this is the most unflattering video of all of these people. Anyway, here she is walking out with a drink in her hand. If you look close up, I know it looks like there's a straw. I don't think there is. I think that's the pattern on Higgins' jacket as she's walking by. I think what she's got in her hand, it looks like a can, looks like it's white. It's probably like a White Claw or something, but she is walking out of the bar with a drink. Yeah, I would be going crazy if it was a cocktail glass with a black sippy straw. It's not. It's a white can of some sort. But that brings me to my other point. There has been this underlying perception or judgment of John and Karen, right? Karen walked in with a drink from another bar. They're always quick to mention that. Well, Karen came in already with a drink in her hand. And then John walked out with a drink in his hand. And I remember when I first heard that John walked out of the waterfall with a glass in his hand, I thought, how the hell does that happen? Who walks out of a bar with their drink? And then I thought, and he's a cop. Oh, but he's with other cops, and those are the people that would ticket him anyway, and he's going to get in the car, open container. Like in this situation, they remind us that Karen came walking in, drink in hand. John walked out, drink in hand. Must be a raging drunk if you have to carry your drinks everywhere with you. But here's Nicole Albert walking out with one that no one ever mentioned. So I'm just saying, let's not judge John and Karen for carrying drinks when the queen bee is carrying one herself.